Hi, everyone. My name is Rachel Taylor. I'm a teaching artist and the program manager for literacy engagement and resiliency programming at the Denver Center for the Performing Arts.
Hi, my name is Mayarae Taylor, and I'm a junior at Denver Montessori Senior High School.
And she's also my daughter. So, Myra, we are here to talk about all the good things theater, art, and the upcoming DPS Shakespeare Festival. We've never done this before. This is exciting. Okay. So, Myra, my first question for you is how has arts education affected your life so far?
Well, in so many ways, but I think I'm very lucky to have grown up in a family that really values art really highly. And so that has always been a huge part of me. Art will always be a huge part of me. And so, theater specifically, it's taught me how to be confident and it's shown me that everybody has a voice that holds weight in the world, as well as have empathy for other people. It gives you theater gives you the chance to put yourself in other people's shoes, whether or not you would ever imagine yourself being in their shoes. And I think that's really important and valuable lesson that we all can learn. Um, why is arts education important to you?
Well, ironically, all the same reasons. I would add to that, though, that I feel like theater and arts education creates a whole human being, it creates a whole learner. Um, Theater and art sort of look at science and politics and history and psychology, all those things that make us human, and then reflect them back to us. And I think that that can be a really powerful thing. And I think that it can also be a life changing thing at times. So that's why I feel so strongly about it. Um, Maya, tell us, what has your favorite arts class been so far?
Well, I've been in a lot of arts classes over the years, but I say my favorite one at the moment is the one I'm taking at CCD. It's 2D design, and we've gotten a lot of art technology and turned it into something really creative. And this past project that I just finished doing is an activism poster. We had to choose a movement that we feel really strongly about or that is important to us and turn it into a portrait. And I chose the Protect Asian Lives movement because that's something really important to me right now. And I think that art in general, especially that I've learned through art classes, has taught me that art has the power to change people's minds and it has the power to reflect on the world today. And we see this a lot with what's going on right now. So I think it's very valuable in itself. Why is art important to you? Why did you become an arts educator?
Um, well, I also grew up in a household with your grandparents that also highly respected all forms of art. My sister was a dancer with Colorado Ballet, and I fell in love with the magic and the majesty of the ballet, but can't dance. So theater was sort of the next best thing for me. And my mother was a librarian, so I was constantly just consuming books and literature and stories. And then my dad was a teacher. So if you roll all those things up into one, it sort of computes and comes up with what my job is now, which is kind of cool. Um, I feel like I really became an arts educator because I saw how much need there is um, in the world for children to be able to express themselves. Um, you know, human beings since the beginning of humankind have been telling stories, whether it was on cave walls or passing that story down orally. Um, we've always been doing that and we've continued to do that. And the modern technology and world we live in now of electronics and zooming is challenging that tradition a little bit, I would say. And so I think now arts education is even more than ever before so vital to giving students a way to explore who they are and express themselves and challenge them to think outside of the box a little bit. Um, all right, Maya, we're pivoting. Pivot. We're pivoting to the Shakespeare Festival. Tell us what your involvement in the Shakespeare Festival has been the past couple of years.
Well, DPS sends out an invitation to the students in the district every year about how they can submit an art piece to the art contest and earn a chance to be featured on the poster for the Shakespeare Festival. And it was a blind contest, and I luckily got chosen last year, which is amazing and honorable. And since COVID happened and it wasn't in person last year and it was virtual again this year, they offered to let me do it again this year. And it was really exciting, and I'm so honored to be able to have this opportunity. I've gotten to learn what it's like behind the scenes and work with the Denver Center's Kyle Malone about how his process is like and get to see everything. And he's really taught me a lot, and this experience has taught me a lot. And I think it's really important. I'm very lucky to have this opportunity. Um, do
Shout
you
out
want to
to
talk?
Kyle Malone as a rock star.
Yes. Oh my God. Do you want to talk about Joe Craft and why the Shakespeare Festival is important?
I would love to. So Joe Craft, for those of you who never met him, and Mayarae, I'm so sad that you never got to meet him in person. Joe Craft is the founder of the DPS Shakespeare Festival. He was also a dear friend of our families. He and my father worked on the School of the Arts together and the Career Education Center, and my mother and Jane still speak on the phone almost every day. Um, we lost Joe this last few months, and so that's one reason why the festival is so important this year is to honor him. He started the festival sort of and it started so small and it's just grown to this enormous beautiful thing. He started it because he believes so strongly in how Shakespeare could affect students, even students who don't speak English as their first language. To watch a child like that first look at some Shakespeare text and just, their eyes glaze over and they have no idea what the words are, what they're saying. And then from sort of going to that to the 180 to standing on stage and speaking the words with love and passion. Um, sometimes sometimes not well, but it doesn't matter because they did it. They did it. It's absolutely transformative in terms of being a teacher and watching that happen for a kid. And the fact that the festival has given that gift to tens of thousands of students, you know, over all the years the festival has been going has been, remarkable. And that is Joe Craft's legacy. If you never met him, Joe Craft is, if you imagine in your head Dumbledore, that's Joe Craft. He was larger than life. He knew everything there was to know about Shakespeare. He could do it backwards and forwards. He could tell you every objective of every character, every plot line, every line. And he didn't know those things because someone made him learn those. He knew those because he had so much respect for the storyteller that William Shakespeare was, and he believed so strongly in the messages of the play and of the themes of um, humanness that lie in all of his work. So we definitely will be thinking about Joe and his amazing wife Jane this year at the festival. Um, Maya, how do you think being able to work with Kyle and designing the posters for last year and this year, how will that sort of affect what you want to do going forward?
Well, as a junior, I've been thinking a lot about college and career goals this year, especially. And I know I want to go into something design and art related. So, I mean, I feel like I've done this before right now, but having this opportunity is really special to me because it gives me a look at what it would be like to be a professional artist or designer. And especially working with Kyle, I've gotten to see that firsthand and like know what I'm getting myself into, if that makes sense. And I think that's really valuable and it's really amazing opportunity that not a lot of kids have my age. So I'm very, very lucky and I'm very excited to go forward with this.
Awesome. And Mayarae, before we go, what is your favorite Shakespeare play and why?
Um, that's a hard one. I think my favorite Shakespeare play would have to be King Lear because I think Cordelia is a very strong character and very strong role model. And one of the first Shakespeare monologues I memorized was hers when she's talking to King Lear. And that's very important to me. And what she stands for in that scene is really important to me. So I really love that one. What's yours? What's your favorite Shakespeare play or line?
Oh, that was such a good example. And mine is not was you're saying, yes, she took the moral high ground and she stood her ground. Well, mine is Macbeth because witches.
I mean, that I love that too.
I love Macbeth, and I'm so excited that our Shakespeare in the Parking Lot group is doing it this year because it has all those rich, interesting human things that we get sucked into, and then witches. So, magic.
Mhm.
Who doesn't like that?
I
Um,
know.
so that's my favorite. And well, my Ray, thank you so much for
Thank
spending
you.
a little time with me this afternoon. And we hope we see all of you at the DPS Virtual Shakespeare Festival this year. Thank you so much, everyone. Thank you, Maya.
Thank you.